Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now guys, this ongoing saga between Biodun Fatoyinbo and Bukola Dakolo is something that is gaining momentum, and everybody in society pretty much has a view, because there's been goings on in these churches that has been a growing cause of concern for a lot of people within the Nigerian space. And this now allegation that this Busola lady has put out in the public space now seems to be the tipping point for everybody to now take a stance. So now guys, the Nigerian police has now also come out regarding this matter. So guys, I bring you this. Police speak on Biodun Fatoyinbo's RAPE allegations. So that's the headline. Police speak on Biodun Fatoyinbo's RAPE allegations. The police in Abuja have said they would require a formal complaint of the wrongdoings against the Pentecostal preacher Biodun Fatoyinbo, who is accused of RAPE, before they could take criminal actions against him. The police commissioner, Bala Chiroma, speaking to correspondents on Saturday, that the police usually require complaints from victims or witnesses or both to proceed with RAPE charges. They should file a formal complaint, Mr. Chiroma said, and then the police can see how to proceed from there. Mr. Fatoyinbo, the founder and senior pastor of Commonwealth of Zion Assembly, COSA, has been a subject of public derision since Friday morning, when a video interview in which a lady, Busola Dakolo, accused him of raping in her was published online. Mrs. Dakolo, wife of musician Timmy Dakolo, told Why Naija that she was 16 when Mr. Fatoyinbo came to her family residence in Ilorin and RAPE'd her, deflowering her in the process. Mrs. Dakolo, now a mother of 3, said the first encounter happened on the morning when Mr. Fatoyinbo knocked on the door of our family home in Ilorin. The family had been a long-time member of COSA, and they saw Mr. Fatoyinbo as a diligent and decent figure. Immediately after I opened the door, he pushed me. He did not say anything. He did not utter any word. He just pushed me to one of the chairs in my living room, Mrs. Dakolo told Why Naija. I saw him. He was removing his belt. He just said, "Keep quiet. Do what I want you to do, and you will be fine," Mrs. Dakolo said. Mrs. Dakolo said Mr. Fatoyinbo told her after the alleged RAPE that she should be grateful that it was a man of God that did that to her. She said the preacher RAPE'd her the second time within the same week on a deserted road. She narrated several unwanted encounters that followed the first incident, all of which she said she carried as a burden for several years. She said she recently found the confidence to publicly tell her story. Mrs. Dakolo's allegation came 6 years after Mr. Fatoyinbo faced allegations of misconduct and adultery from 2 women, including S.A. Walters. The 2 women did not accuse Mr. Fatoyinbo of raping them, and they also largely avoided confronting him, unlike Mrs. Dakolo. Mr. Fatoyinbo pushed back against the allegations on Friday, saying in an official church statement that he has never RAPE'd a woman, even as an unbeliever. The pastor threatened a lawsuit against Mrs. Dakolo and others he accused of defaming his character, adding that many of the misconduct claims that he had faced over the years had come from scorned women within his ministry. Nigerians have expressed enormous support for the Dakolos for their courage, and calls for Mr. Fatoyinbo's arrest and prosecution has also intensified on social media. But the police are now asking the victims to come forward with complaints. It was not immediately clear whether the Dakolos had reported the matter to the police. Mr. Dakolo did not immediately return messages seeking comments about this on Saturday morning. RAPE allegations are considered grievous under the Nigerian federal and state laws and could attract long sentences for anyone convicted. The Child Rights Act 2003 sets 18 as the age of consent at federal level, but several states have amended the law before domesticating it, including Kwara, which sets it at 16 years. Section 247 of the Kwara State Child Rights Law 2007 defines a child as any person under the age of 16. Before the Child Rights Act was introduced in 2003 to protect and advance the interest of the girl child, there was no standard definition for criminal responsibility in Nigeria. Decades after it was first passed and adopted at the federal level, 12 states, all in the northern part of Nigeria, have not domesticated the law. The states are Bauchi, Yobe, Kano, Sokoto, Adamawa, Borno, Zamfara, Gombe, Katsina, Kebbi, Jigawa, and Kaduna. Even though the Kwara State Child Rights Act sets 16 as the age of consent, prosecutors would have to put up a formidable argument to categorize the alleged incident as a child RAPE because it appeared to have taken place before 2007, according to Victor Okio, a criminal justice expert. Mr. Fatoyinbo, in his statement, said he was friends with Mrs. Dakolo's family, the Anquitans, in 1999 when he was an upcoming preacher in Ilorin. Mr. Okio said RAPE, as with most criminal charges, can prove particularly challenging for prosecutors to establish in court. It requires the victim, witnesses, marks, and even forensic analysis nowadays, Mr. Okio said. However, Mrs. Dakolo and other women who have alleged misconduct against Mr. Fatoyinbo could initiate a class action lawsuit against the famed preacher. When there's a preponderance of allegation from women, they can file a class action civil suit to hold him accountable for his action, Mr. Okio said. But this would be a civil matter which might not go as far as the criminal charges that people have shown a preference for in this matter. Mr. Okio also said the police may take up the matter even without a formal complaint from the Dakolos or other potential victims. If the police have a reasonable basis to suspect that a wrongdoing might have been committed, then they can move in without a complaint, Mr. Okio said. Just like in Naira Marley's case, nobody made a formal complaint, but the anti-graft EFCC took him in and charged him to court for misbehavior. So now this is now the latest development now in this Biodun Fatoyinbo situation. No, I have never been a fan of this guy, and some of you who might have watched my first video on this saga would have found out the reasons why. This is not somebody, it is not my cup of tea, this character. I just see him as a chancer, an opportunist rather, who prays preys, that's Prey, who preys on the vulnerability of the gullible. A lot of people find themselves in situations that is beyond the realms of their capacity, so they go for all these spiritual solutions, and then they find themselves in the hands of people like this Fatoyinbo and imams and all whatnot. So they end up in all of these churches and mosques and babalawos, etc. And people like this Fatoyinbo character not only relieve these people of their finances, and in a lot of instances is their financial situation that actually chase these people to these churches and mosques and babalawos. But people like this Fatoyinbo will not only then relieve you of the little that you have left, but now it looks as he is now imagining, and we've always known it to be the case, that they will also take advantage of the women. So now this is now going to be a marquee case, because this guy needs to now be at the pleasure of the Nigerian federal government, i.e. Kirikiri. So this is now a Kirikiri candidate now, and a lot of us would actually like to see this guy go and spend a bit of cooling off period, maybe about some 10-15 years or maybe more, or even 20 in Kirikiri, to reflect on his actions. Because a lot of this sort of behavior, this is not news actually, because anybody that goes to church within the Nigerian space will tell you that this goes on routinely. The pastor will take down all of the choir women, and then all of the everybody's wife and everybody's daughter, anyone that begins to show a bit of front and back is prey to the pastor. This is really what goes on within the Nigerian churches. So now this area boy that they are calling Gucci pastor, whatever it is they are calling him, is now going to be the test case of the enough is enough movement against this now thing. So now this is now where we are now. So conversations in the comment section is what I am inviting. Come tell me what your thoughts are about this Chancer boy called Fatoyinbo, this one that needs to be stripped and flogged, so come tell me what you think. But before you come tell me what your thoughts are though, click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray, bell button, that way you are notified every time I drop a new video. Then come tell me what you are making of all this Fatoyinbo or Dakolo and the preacher man and the ladies in the church saga, an everlasting story within the Nigerian space. So come tell me your experiences and your thoughts about this particular saga in the comment section. So I'll leave you here, meet you in the comment section where this conversation carries on. But here I say peace.